Alright, what's up guys? This is Dakota again. This is the third tutorial using Fusion Studio. This is a big one because this tells us what footage we actually need to render out and not waste our time rendering out large files that we probably won't ever use. We want to only get the parts we really need. Also, we will go over all the settings we could use with Fusion Studio and how to get it into Premiere. Alright, so we have all our clips here on the left side. And with each clip, you're going to want to break it down into the necessary parts you'll actually want to use instead of having it render out all this footage. That'll just take a bunch of time. So once you've uploaded your footage to Fusion Studio, you're going to go through all the clips to cut down what you need for your final video. Cutting down the video is very important because if we don't, sometimes render times can take way more hours than we'll need it to. So for example, if I have a clip of someone jumping off a ramp, make sure to cut all unnecessary time before and after the action point in the clip. The shorter the better, but make sure to leave some room for editing purposes. So let me show you how we do that. And it's going to take a while because we're working with big files. Alright, so you're going to want to drag this to break down the parts you won't need. So in this shot, I believe I'm getting in a car, and yeah, see, I get in the car right about somewhere around here, so I'll cut out some of this. And on the right side, I'll kind of do the same thing. This is just extra footage. I'm kind of counting down here. Yeah, kind of goes right there. So, I mean, this one I didn't cut off too much because this is a driving scene, so I could possibly use a lot of this. Alright, now that we covered that step, I'm going to walk you through all the functions on Fusion Studio. So yaw, pitch, and roll are basically the parameters that kind of help you erase or make the stitching lines less noticeable, and it really helps a lot. The first step is I really leave all of this how it is because in Premiere, that's where I change it. Because if I do it now, I'll probably end up changing it later in Premiere, depending on what shot I want. Yeah, once you play around with it, you'll get more used to it. And as far as stabilization goes, it's always nice to have full stabilization on. I usually just leave it on. Anti-shake, I've never actually used this, but it says right there, removes jitter, smoothing your video, keeps camera orientation steady, ideal for body and gear mounted footage. Definition for full stabilization is smooths your video, locking the view in one direction, ideal for headset and VR viewing. And then right here, 360 and overcapture. Overcapture is that effect you might have seen. It basically turns it into like a tiny planet. And with overcapture, there's a bunch of settings you can work with, the ratios, fisheye, little planet. You can work with the yaw, pitch, and roll here as well. This is a new one. I believe it stands for field of view. I'm not sure. But yeah, zoom in or zoom out. But really, again, I don't even do this overcapture because I end up doing it in Premiere. If I do it in here and then I try to do it in Premiere, it just becomes like too much. I just leave it how it is and then work with it in Premiere. Settings, you could do this too if you're looking for a way to color it. This will change how big your clips are, how you can view them. Let's say we cut down all our clips to what we wanted. Once we got them all down, we cut the beginning and the ends to capture the moments we need. We can select our shots. Make sure you select your shots. You can do command and click to choose certain ones. Let's say I want just these three. Command click, it selects them. And then you could add to render queue. And this is where you want to choose your export destination. Usually we're going to be using Premiere, so I would just always go for editing. When it comes to choosing 5.2 or 4K, 5.2K looks a little better, but it doesn't make a huge difference, and it takes a lot longer, so sticking with 4K is a better idea. Sound, I just do stereo. The audio from 360 the audio from the 360 camera is, not the best. So yeah, this is usually what I go for every time, unless I'm in a different scenario. So then I create the render queue, and it's going to render out. You just kind of let it do its thing. It might take a while, because this rendering process does take time for 360 files, since they are pretty large, because it's editing 4K footage at every angle, so it's almost like you're doing 8 clips in one. So yeah, then you're going to hit render all to start the render, and then it's going to render out. And I made a separate folder. I called it rendered 1 because I have shoot 1 with my back and my front cards, and it's going to render out either way, if you do the SD card way or if you do through the GoPro itself with the cable. You'll always have to have a separate folder just for the rendered out clips. It's going to render them into their own videos, and you can't open them with space, but when you open them, they're the full 360 file, and then these are the files you'll be using in Premiere. And that's about it. Alright, thanks.